I-77 South Express Lane project, how local leaders are addressing the lack of trust within the Charlotte community.
It feels like our kids are getting leftovers, and they deserve to get more. They deserve to know that they're valued.
Gaston County leaders are bailing out their school district plagued by a budget shortfall, what the money will do and what parents say is still needed.
It's the last time I saw my husband of 52 years. When I pulled him out of our burning home.
And the mother of NASCAR star Denny Hamlin talking about the fire that devastated her family, her message on what's needed in the aftermath.
Queen City News starts now.
Members of a critical panel overseeing Charlotte area transportation plans are debating the future of the I-77 Express Lane project. One thing they say is needed is more information and communication before taking any next steps. Thanks for joining us at 10 tonight. I'm Brian Blakely. Local leaders are facing pushback from people in South and West Charlotte neighborhoods over the proposed toll lanes from uptown to the South Carolina state line. Tonight, a regional planning group took up the controversial issue. Queen City News reporter Shakira Speaks is following the debate.
What is the main purpose of the I-77 express lanes in Charlotte? That was one of the main questions that members of the Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization asked Wednesday night. Is it to alleviate traffic on one of the state's most congested highways or to just provide predictable transit times? Charlotte leaders want answers to that and more, and it may take them a little longer to get it.
Don't fall victim to NCDOT saying that this project doesn't harm 95% of the community.
People in Charlotte neighborhoods are urging local leaders to pause the state's proposed Interstate 77 toll lane project until more studies are done. The current proposal would butt into communities like McCrory Heights, a historically black neighborhood.
Why are we seeking a 50-year P3 where we need to plan for 5 years and sit in horrible construction for another 5 for most of the improvement to be directly related to the express lane? For what?
Charlotte City Council member Ed Driggs and Mecklenburg County Commissioner Lee Altman expressed concerns Wednesday night over the project's community impact. They want to know more about the impact on neighborhoods and the environment and any alternatives to toll lanes.
Some of those conversations and some of the sort of facts or principles that we were talking about a year ago, I'm frankly less confident about.
Some officials pushed back on the outcry over the plans. State Transportation Board member Stephen Rosenberg says the reality is the current highway doesn't work and the state wants to fix that.
If the city doesn't want this project, Raleigh will take this 600 plus 100 million tomorrow. Greensboro will take it tomorrow. It's not being allocated to another project. It is leaving the city and it won't be coming back.
Rosenberg says the state doesn't have money or land to build a tunnel here in Charlotte, nor does it have the ridership for a new rail line. He proposed using money from the approved 1-cent sales tax for the community improvements that neighbors are seeking. For now, reporting in Charlotte, Shakira Speaks, Queen City News.
Governor Josh Stein will announce his next budget request tomorrow for Hurricane Helene recovery in western North Carolina. It will be his third request from state lawmakers. He's already asked for more than $2 billion from the General Assembly, with much of the money going into rebuilding and repairs and supporting tourism and other industries. The Republican-controlled legislature has approved more than $1.3 billion in recovery money in the last 18 months. Gaston County school officials are getting $10 million to cover their budget deficit, saving hundreds of people from layoffs. Gaston County commissioners voted unanimously to approve that funding at a meeting last night. Queen City News anchor Caroline Boyer shares the reaction of parents and teachers.
Without this funding, district leaders would have had to lay off 100 people by the end of this week and 300 more after that. While parents and teachers I talked with are grateful this money came through to finish out this year, they're frustrated it got to this point and worried about where they stand for next school year.
It feels like our kids are getting leftovers, and they deserve to get more. They deserve to know that they're valued.
Brittany Elkin is one of the parents who addressed commissioners Tuesday night, sharing her concerns after seeing a Facebook post where a Gaston County teacher claimed her school only had 7 boxes of paper left for the rest of the year.
Going into next year, how are we going to deal with inflation, with the fact that we don't have enough staff as it is, that for years we've had teachers making Amazon wish lists and asking for donations and spending their own money, which they don't make that much of, to make their classrooms wonderful for our kids.
Elkin was in the room as the district superintendent pleaded with commissioners for millions of dollars to get through the rest of this year.
As the head of Gaston County Schools, I am responsible for every aspect of it. I take full responsibility for this. I fully understand the magnitude of this situation. I understand the position I am putting you in with this request. I wish I did not have to be here today.
Dr. Morgan Houchard says the funding gap is caused by several issues: a decrease in state funding, inflation, and the end of federal COVID relief funds. Without the bailout, immediate layoffs would have started in a district that's already down staff and has been on a hiring freeze since December.
We need every person that we have working in our schools. We need personnel in our schools to support our students, to provide quality instruction.
Commissioners say they felt an obligation to help, but this will affect some of their plans.
We'll have to put some projects off. We'll have to do some things differently. We were going to pay off some debt that we had through the school systems. That's what we do. But it was not an easy decision to just sit back and think about all the things we had to do, but it is important to our kids and to our teachers especially.
Parents are concerned this won't be the last time county school officials will be in desperate need of help.
I'm just worried that we're going to end up in this same situation again because they keep kicking the can down the road and they keep saying, well, we need to wait on some state funding, and that's not happening, so we have to step up.
As for next school year, district leaders tell me they're planning to focus on taking a more fiscally conservative approach to spending. They're also planning to better align the workforce with the number of positions allotted by the state to avoid something like this happening again. In Gastonia, Caroline Boyer, Queen City News.
The mother of NASCAR driver Denny Hamlin is talking about the fire that killed her husband and destroyed her home.
On December 28th was one of the saddest days of my life. It's the last time I saw my husband of 52 years when I pulled him out of our burning home.
Mary Lou Hamlin spoke at last night's Gaston County Commission meeting, flanked by family members and firefighters. She thanked the crews who responded to the December fire at her home on Black Snake Road in Stanley. Her husband, Dennis, was killed, and she suffered severe burns in the blaze, and while many firefighters responded, they lacked the water needed to put out the fire. Hamlin also asked commissioners to provide more money to fire departments in their next budget.
Training on emergency response, additional equipment, staffing, as you just heard, are just a few of the things to help strengthen the fire protection in our area, in which funds are desperately needed. I am hoping by doing this, no other family has to experience what we had to go through.
Gaston County leaders are in the process of creating the budget for the next fiscal year. It will come up for a vote in May. Charlotte fire officials say breezy, dry conditions are perfect factors for elevated fire risk in the area. This is one of 25 brush fire crews have had to put out over the last 10 days. There is no burn ban in place, but they're asking people to avoid burning outside. They also say that improperly discarded smoking materials are another fire risk factor. Lancaster County deputies are looking into how a loaded gun and a knife ended up in a 5-year-old student's bag. It happened this afternoon at Harrisburg Elementary in Indian Land. Investigators say students were preparing for dismissal when a teacher noticed a knife in a child's bag. School resource officer performed a search and also found a loaded pistol in that bag. And deputies are trying to learn whether the student knew they were carrying the weapons or they brought them to school with hostile intent. Managers of Hickory Regional Airport will conduct a full-scale emergency exercise tomorrow morning. People may see lots of emergency personnel, fire trucks, and other first response vehicles. There will also be simulated smoke and mock disaster scenes. The airport grounds and entrance will be closed during the exercise. No disruption of normal airport operations is expected.
Coming up after the break, I've got the latest on potentially record warmth ahead for the Carolinas and what you can expect for a weekend forecast right after the break.
Fort Bragg troops are heading to the Middle East. What military families are saying about the soldiers' deployment during the Iran war.
Thing is history never stops. It's never in the past. It's also in the present. We're creating our community and we're making history today in Waxhaw.
The history of the Waxhaws and the people preserving it. Why some say that history never stops.
And we got a whole lot coming up for you guys tonight on Carolina Sports Live. Wes Miller officially introduced at UNC Charlotte to lead the 49ers basketball program. Plus, the Hornets continuing their big homestand with the Knicks in town tomorrow. And we're going to debate who should be the next leader of UNC men's basketball after Hubert Davis was let go on Tuesday night. That and a whole lot more at 11 o'clock right here on CSL.
A whole lot of debate, especially who's on that short list right now for UNC. Gabe, thanks. We'll see you in a little bit. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Pentagon commanders are sending soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Division to the Middle East. Up to 3,000 troops from the North Carolina post will head to the region as the U.S. war against Iran continues. Justin Moore shows us how their families are dealing with the deployment tonight.
My son is deployed. This is his third deployment. So it's kind of hard to say that it gets easier with deployments.
For one North Carolina mom, this deployment is personal. Joanne Tanner's son was recently deployed to the Middle East.
My son is recently re-enlisted for 6 more years, so he's very proud of the job he's doing, and on this deployment was very excited to be called up to go and represent the United States Army.
The Pentagon confirming elements of the 82nd Airborne Division, including headquarters support units and the 1st Brigade Combat Team, are now deploying to the CENTCOM region as the war in Iran stretches into its 4th week. CBS News reporting the mission could include both ground forces and command elements, but many details remain classified. Back here at home, the wait is filled with uncertainty.
You go from having mom and dad there to suddenly someone's gone. not knowing how long they're going to be gone necessarily, whatever. So that puts additional strains on the family.
Leaders in Fayetteville say support for military families is critical as more troops head overseas.
The more we can do as a community to outreach to those families while the service member's gone, let them focus on their job. Know that there is a support system here at home for your family.
For some veterans, this moment was expected.
So no, it's not surprising that they're going, but it's comforting to know that the 82nd Airborne Division will be there.
In a social media post tonight, South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace is making it clear she does not want to see American ground troops sent to Iran. She was among the House lawmakers who got a briefing today on the Trump administration's plans. She also posted to Twitter, quote, "Washington's war machine is hard at work. They are trying to drag us into Iran to make it another Iraq. We can't let them." Republican candidate for governor also says she will not vote for the Pentagon's $200 billion supplemental request if it means U.S. service members are sent onto Iranian soil. It is a yellow wave in the Carolinas as pollen is coating vehicles all over, but allergists say it's the pollen you don't see from trees like oaks and maples that are causing the real problems. That's what's responsible for causing runny noses and itchy eyes. Doctors say preventative medicine is needed to avoid the agony of allergies.
Just get those medicines, get them on board, because once the symptoms are really bad, it's really, really hard to get them back under control. So I think the earlier you can start those medicines, the better. And if the medicines aren't quite enough, that's why us as allergists are there to try to help out.
Doctors say there won't be much relief to come. Grass pollen will take over once summer begins. People aren't the only ones with pollen problems. Veterinarians say about every third dog they see comes in with allergies, and most of those visits happen during March and April, and they become more common in recent years. They've been busy giving animals chewable allergy medicines.
When they get it on their feet and on their clothes, they lick, of course. Dogs are groomers, cats are groomers, so they intake the pollen, which causes reactions.
Allergies in dogs are easier to diagnose than in cats, and it can take weeks to determine what causes cats' reactions. To our weather right now, so looking live over Gastonia, another cool night, but even warmer weather is on the way for tomorrow. Meteorologist Andrew Brightman scurrying on over here right now as he's getting in some last-minute forecast details, as we do know that we're going to be close to 80 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to be close to that and likely surging towards record territory here. I had to verify that, like some of the temperatures that we could see here at the end of the week across the Carolinas. It's really going to be maybe a little history here as we wrap up your week here. Beautiful shot as we look towards the moon here as we're at Lake Norman. A wonderful end to the week here if you literally like the warm weather, and then kind of back to reality as we move on into your weekend. Right now, though, what are we expecting here? It's going to be for the most part clear and cool. A little bit of cloud cover moving in. A warmer Thursday ahead for the Carolinas. Then we do have the Friday night cold front on the way across the region as well. Charlotte live cam, currently 60 degrees right now. Winds out of the south-southwest at 3 miles an hour. Dew points currently in the middle 40s here. We've got some of that drier air across the Carolinas. Up at Beach Mountain, quiet conditions. Currently, almanac for today got up to 66 degrees. The low this morning was 39 degrees out there. Pinpoint radar, currently it's quiet, nothing going on across the region. We zoom out, actually next frontal boundary still well off to our north and west. That'll be moving in later in the day on Friday and eventually bringing us some cooler temperatures heading into your weekend. It is incredible right now, some of the warmth they've been seeing across the western third of the country. Denver in the upper 80s today, one of the warmest March days in their entire recorded history. And that warmer air is what's trying to move in here across the Carolinas. And we're expecting some records here in Charlotte likely on Friday. Current record 85, we are forecasting 88, so might smash and make a little bit of history here as we go into your weekend across the Carolinas. That also means with the dry weather, the warm weather, the pollen levels, they are moving up big time here across the Carolinas, likely going to be in high territory starting tomorrow and continuing right through your weekend forecast, even with that cold front on the way. Futurecast, as we go through the overnight hours, heading into your Thursday morning, a little bit of cloud cover out there. 9 o'clock on your Thursday morning, there's the partly cloudy skies here across the region. 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon, heading into the evening hours, mostly clear skies. Overnight Thursday, heading into your Friday here across the Carolinas. We start with a little bit of cloud cover. We clear out, we warm up. We see that record here as we head into the afternoon, and potentially a couple of scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder as we go through your Friday evening. Don't think it's going to be a huge deal out there, but the wet weather lingering into the evening hours. If you're going to be out and about here across the Carolinas, just keep that in the back of your mind. Overnight, though, as we go into your weekend, kids' activities, a little bit on the chilly side here As we get into your Saturday morning, keep that in mind. As we go into your Saturday evening, mostly clear skies, going to be keeping it tranquil across the Carolinas. Weekend forecast 63 in Charlotte, 65 in Sunday here in the QC as temperatures start to warm back up, and that warming trend will continue as we go into next week. As for the overnight hours, temperatures tipping down into the upper 40s, right around the 50-degree mark here in Charlotte, middle 40s as we get up into the mountains, 50 in Chirot, 50 in Wadesboro. So cool, but probably about most places 8 to 10 degrees warmer compared to what we saw this morning. A beautiful Thursday forecast here across the Carolinas. Going to be absolutely perfect out there. Upper 70s in Charlotte, 80 in Chirot, upper 60s to around the 70-degree mark as we head up into the mountains. Your mountain forecast track and some of those showers here for you as well as we wrap up the week. And then right back to warming up here early next week in your pinpoint 7-day forecast. Chance of those showers Friday evening. Cooler weekend, Brian, and then we're shooting right back up into the 80s next week.
Sounds good, Andrew. From roads to waterways, people are feeling the impact of fuel prices, how they're affecting the boating industry. And the dust has settled in a key race for North Carolina Senate. The Democrat who will take on Republican Sam Page in District 26. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Prices at the pump are affecting more than what travels on the road. Regina Mobley shows us how the higher cost of diesel is putting a strain on charter boat captains.
The winds of war have rocked for-hire boat captains. At the Virginia Beach Fishing Center, boat captains like David Wright are preparing for the fishing season while bracing for record-breaking diesel fuel prices. I had sticker shock when I looked at that figure right there.
Actually, it's more than what you see because that was quite a while back when it was at $3.80.
Okay, so
it's gone up about $1 since that.
Inshore trips are financially manageable, says Captain Wright.
It's just a matter of getting lucky.
But offshore trips like the one that snagged a record-breaking blue marlin could take a bite out of profits. The timing is terrible. Boat owners are spending money on costly repairs and inspections.
My life raft was just re-inspected at about $1,200 for an annual.
With prices where they are right now, how would that affect you during your busy season?
It would be much tougher. Some people put a surcharge on that, and we've had this listed on booking sites. I have yet to really ever implement that. We just have to eat it.
As one boat heads out to sea for life-saving training, Captain Wright says boat owners must stay on course if they plan to survive war-related turbulence in the fuel industry.
They're going to have to take care of their boats if they want to use them. An old cliche, if you treat her like a lady, she'll always bring you home.
Boat owners in South Carolina are feeling the same strain. Warmer weather is bringing more people to the water, but they're running into higher fuel prices. And they've seen a 65-cent jump per gallon compared to when they filled up 2 weeks ago. Charter owners and fishing guides say the conflict in the Middle East will be felt along the Carolina coast.
Fuel prices get over $4 and $5 a gallon, and you have fishing tournaments. It's hard to get as many boaters as you did in the prior years because your fuel prices are so high.
Marina owners say they're also worried people who own pleasure boats may keep their vessels on dry land until prices fall. The aftermath of a deadly crash at New York's LaGuardia Airport, how one of the nation's busiest airports is dealing with the strain, and the surprise of a lifetime for a South Carolina music teacher, the long trip a former student made to give her a prestigious award. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Delays and cancellations continue to pile up at LaGuardia Airport in Queens, New York. One of its 2 runways remains closed while investigators go over the scene of Sunday night's deadly collision between an Air Canada jet and a fire truck. James Ford is following the probe and the impact on flights.
With one of the 2 runways at LaGuardia still shut down, all the red and orange colors on the departure screen show how at least half of all flights are delayed or canceled. It's a necessity as the National Transportation Safety Board investigation into Sunday night's crash continues. you could see clearly investigators from the NTSB poring over debris of both the Air Canada jet and the Port Authority fire vehicle that it hit while landing on Sunday around 11:45 p.m. Investigators have said they're looking for every piece of evidence that helps them piece together how the fire truck ended up getting clearance from the control tower to cross runway 4 as the jet landed at nearly 100 miles an hour. Right after confirming clearance to cross the runway, stop. The air traffic controller told the fire truck to stop, and it did not, leading to the collision. That truck was at the head of a group of similar trucks, according to the NTSB. The other trucks stopped. The lead truck did not. Most vehicles on the tarmac have a transponder on them, an electronic device sending a signal to the Airport Surface Detection Equipment, or ASDX system. In this case,
Truck 1, however, did not have a transponder. Their analysis shows that the ASDX system did not alert.
Why not? Finding answers is part of why the investigators are on the ground now.
The aviation industry is also dealing with a conflict in the Middle East and its impact on jet fuel prices. Airlines are likely to increase summer fares 20%, and AAA analysts say anyone trying to snag last-second tickets this spring won't be happy with what they find.
I think there's a lot of people thinking like, well, I can get a great deal by waiting to the last minute, or there's some voodoo that you can play out when it comes to plane tickets. Sometimes that's true. This is a year where it's categorically not true.
The price impact could spill over to other areas of the travel industry, including rental cars, hotels, and anything depending upon delivery service. This is video of the long lines of travelers waiting to get through TSA security checkpoints at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Atlanta. And officers were telling passengers to arrive 4 hours early to make sure that they could make their flights. Members of Congress are hitting obstacles in efforts to make a deal to fund the Homeland Security Department and get paychecks to screeners. As Raquel Martin reports, the head of the TSA now says the money is needed.
The head of TSA describes a dire situation if lawmakers don't strike a deal and get these TSA workers paid. In fact, she's warning that even small airports could face closures to try and offset staffing shortages at larger hubs.
Some are sleeping in their cars, selling their blood and plasma.
It's the level of desperation countless TSA workers now face as the partial shutdown at the Department of Homeland Security drags on.
A transportation security officer at Reagan National Airport recently said, "I just want Congress to pay me for the job I am doing."
At a House hearing, TSA's acting administrator called on lawmakers to end the stalemate. According to DHS data, 480 TSA agents have already quit, and call-outs at airports are surging. But as security lines grow at airports, the finger-pointing continues on Capitol Hill.
Because the Democrats are playing games up here.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune offered a compromise Tuesday, fund everything under DHS except immigration enforcement.
The latest serious offer from Republicans to get this department back up and running.
But after review, Democrats are offering a counter-proposal, fund DHS and reform ICE enforcement in line with previous negotiations.
So if anyone is slowing down negotiation, it's the Republican leadership who did not include one single reform.
On True Social, President Trump blamed Democrats for the mess at airports. He adds he may send National Guard troops to airports to help TSA agents along with ICE. TSA workers are poised to miss their second full paycheck on Friday if Congress does not act. For now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
The field is set for the North Carolina political contest that has already got national attention. Rockingham County Sheriff Sam Page will be the Republican candidate in this fall's Senate District 26 race. Incumbent and GOP power broker Phil Berger conceded to Page yesterday. As Ho Jung Rio reports, the spotlight's turning to the doctor who is the Democratic Party's contender.
My shadow patients, they had no medical insurance. They were developing disease prematurely. They were dying prematurely. I saw it with my own eyes.
Expanding Medicare access.
And I said, when I get the chance and I can finally retire from my day and night responsibilities as a family doctor, I'm going to lean in politically and try to effect change for the community.
and increasing funding for public education.
There are 23,000 school kids in our district alone, and now they're attending a public school system that's ranked dead last in the nation as far as funding.
As he campaigns, Luking says he is taking a different approach, pledging to avoid support from super PACs and focusing on integrity.
More of a responsiveness to your constituents.
This is Luking's second run for the seat. Although he is challenging a high-profile opponent, he believes he has a strong chance of winning.
I think I do have a good role in the community and a good presence, and I will build upon that narrowing margin of the last campaign and hopefully bring it home this time.
Luking says his path to victory runs through unaffiliated voters and moderates, along with the Democratic base.
Amongst the middle class and regular people that are starting to realize that maybe it's time for a substantial change in leadership in Raleigh, and I'm like to be part of that.
The Republican running for Mecklenburg County Commission District 1 is reportedly dropping after his Huntersville home was hit by gunfire. Someone fired gunshots into the home of Aaron Marin in mid-February while he and his family were there. Aaron Marin was set to notice the county election board, announcing that his withdrawal from the commission race reportedly because of that incident. Mecklenburg County Republicans must select a new candidate by mid-August. Authorities are investigating after a semi hit a highway patrol trooper's vehicle while it was stopped on the side of I-95. It happened yesterday in Dorchester County, South Carolina. The trooper was not hurt. It comes a month after a Charleston area deputy's car was hit during a traffic stop. Officials say that's why the state has its move over law requiring drivers to move over or slow down around first responders.
Yeah, within Dorchester County that I'm aware of, we've had 2 of these incidents in the last 30 days where people who have not been able to move over or failed to move over have collided with law enforcement personnel. And so we can't emphasize enough that your failure to move over, your failure to comply with the law can cost people's lives.
Failure to follow the law could be punishable with a fine of up to $1,000. Today's show anchor Savannah Guthrie is sitting down for her first interview since the disappearance of her mother, Nancy. She has once again called on the public's help in the search underway since January 31st. Guthrie spoke with former Today Show co-anchor Hoda Kotb, saying her faith is helping her through the most difficult time, but it doesn't always stop her from sometimes thinking the worst.
I wake up every night, in the middle of the night, every night. And in the darkness, I imagine her terror. And it is unthinkable, but those thoughts demand to be thought.
The family is offering $1 million reward for information leading to Nancy Guthrie's recovery. North Carolina is home to one of the country's largest black bear populations, but experts now say those creatures are capable of more than just roaming the forest. Shanila Kabir tells us how they could be the key to medical breakthroughs.
Experts say what we learned from black bears could change the way medical experts treat critical injuries and disease. While hibernating, their bodies can enter a state called suspended animation, where they survive without aging or breaking down muscle.
A suspended animation is basically a state where there is no growth, there is no death, there's no decay of that organism.
Dr. Joe Folta says that state is critical for someone who needs immediate medical care, like right after a car crash.
If we could figure out how bears go or their blastocyst goes into suspended animation, if we could figure out how they do that, then perhaps we can put people, entire life forms into suspended animation and be able to get them to the hospital or get them the organs that they need for transplant.
Folta, who recently spoke at a Durham Library event, says bears also have a unique ability to recycle waste into protein, allowing them to maintain muscle during hibernation, a discovery he says could transform treatments for kidney disease.
They take their urea, the poison that our body creates and we usually excrete as urine, they'll take that urea, break it apart, and create protein again, and that protein builds muscle. So if we could figure that part out, kidney dialysis is a thing of the past.
And while these animals are often misunderstood, Folta says their impact goes far beyond the wild, with nearly 18,000 black bears in North Carolina and close to 1 million nationwide. Experts say protecting them could help protect us.
The search is on for the next head coach of the men's basketball program at UNC. School parted ways with Hubert Davis last night. The word on campus about the firing is not much of a surprise following the Tar Heels' first-round tournament exit last week. Students are calling for a return of Carolina standards, while others say the criticism of Davis is, quote, harsh.
He didn't really do that bad, but I understand we hold a high standard for this ball, for this team, so it's sad, but let's hope we do better next year.
Possible replacements include Billy Donovan, Todd Golden, and Mark Byington. A Spartanburg County teacher got the surprise of a lifetime today. One of her former students returned home to present her with the award of Educator of the Year. Ripley Simone brings us the exciting moment, capped off with a performance.
An Army homecoming is a special surprise for many, and this homecoming surprise was no different. Master Sergeant James Miller returned home all the way from Washington, D.C. to surprise his former music teacher, Janet Kuntz, with the Spartanburg Philharmonic Orchestra's 2026 Educator of the Year Award, an award he nominated her for, in honor of their close relationship and Kuntz's decades-long career of music education. In his nomination letter to the Philharmonic, Miller wrote, quote, "After my audition, this incredibly enthusiastic woman approached me in the hallway, introduced herself, and changed the course of my life." From that moment on, Kuntz and Miller had weekly private lessons. She taught and mentored him throughout high school, despite him actually not going to her school, and she did it all for free. The award recipient, Mrs. Janet Kuntz, described this moment as the pinnacle of her career and says she is forever thankful for her former student.
I have loved every day that I have been a music educator. As I said when I accepted the award, my flute professor, Ellie Boda, tasked me with passing the torch of music to my students and a love for life and music that I've tried to pass along for the entire time I've been teaching for 41 years.
The celebration wouldn't have been complete without a performance. Miller performed a song his teacher taught him many years ago.
Coming up after the break, I've got the latest on how much we're going to warm up to wrap up the week, and we'll get you a little bit of shower activity with my full forecast next.
Behind the History of America is a group of history buffs making it their mission to tell the stories. Hear about a group in Waxhaw preserving the community's memories. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. history of America is in the spotlight, approaching the country's 250th birthday, and it wouldn't be possible without the history buffs behind it who are keeping the past alive. Taylor Young tells us about the Museum of the Waxhaws.
History doesn't sleep. And apparently, neither does the woman preserving it.
There's a running joke that everyone else has 24 hours in a day, but I have 40 hours in a day.
After a full day of teaching history in a traditional classroom,
Here we have our blacksmith shop.
Megan Plyler steps into a classroom without walls from the 1800s.
I had realized that we have history that's not shared in books, that you actually have to go out and search for around this area.
At the Museum of the Waxhaws, Megan is making sure that untold history is not just found, but felt by everyone who steps inside.
They have Native American tools that date back to the Archaic period, so we're talking about over 10,000 years of history.
Each exhibit walking you through the Waxhaw timeline.
Rustic, and it was survival. You lived in the wilderness.
And a battle marking a brutal turning point in the Revolutionary War.
The Buford's Massacre. The Buford's Massacre is what the Battle of the Waxhaws is called. In 15 minutes, over 100 patriots died on the battlefield. And that's such a big part of our history, and that just happened only 10 miles away from here.
And the rush for a glittering opportunity.
Gold mining was actually second in occupation. So farming was number one, but gold mining was number two.
Every step through the museum offers another window into the past, all of which come from the families whose ancestors lived it.
It's our community. Families donate to us. Families have history to share. If you look in our exhibit room, it's all from local families that cared about the history. The buildings behind us, they were donated by the families who wanted to preserve and share history.
If you ask Megan what history is really about, she'll tell you.
It's the people.
The ones who lived it, preserve it, and share it.
Thing is history never stops. It's never in the past. It's all in the present. We're creating our community, and we're making history today in Waxhaw.
It is the case of being in the right place at the right time. 2 Maryland state troopers arrived at a call over the weekend, but another emergency happened while they were there. The troopers found a choking infant and quickly went into action. Trooper First Class Taylor Hirsch administered the life-saving procedure.
When I looked at him, he looked like he was still conscious, though, so I knew that it was probably a situation that was an airway obstruction or something of that nature.
CPR and the Heimlich techniques are part of training for all state troopers. They say they want this experience to lead to more people learning those measures. So the weather now, as you're looking live at King Street in Boone, a roller coaster of temperatures this week is getting ready to go back up once again. Meteorologist Andrew Brightman joining us right here. And how warm can we expect things to be over the next couple of days?
Well, tomorrow's probably going to be at least 10 degrees warmer compared to what we saw today. And then once we get to the end of the week here on Friday, likely going to see a possible record here. Actually very likely to see one, Brian, across the Carolinas. It's going to be a very warm end to the week out there as we look down into Monroe. Currently, we've got those temperatures that are moving down this evening, but going to be moving up here on your Thursday. Noticeably warmer tomorrow after the clear and cool night, that warmer Thursday, and that Friday front that is going to be on the way across the region. 60 degrees currently, winds out of the south-southwest about 3 to 5 miles an hour. Right now, Beach Mountain, we got mostly clear skies here currently. Almanac got to 66, low this morning was 39. We got the very tranquil conditions here across the Carolinas. That high cloud cover moving in, but otherwise here just kind of a beautiful evening out there across the Carolinas. Temperatures across the southeast. East of the mountains, we're still cooling down here. 54 in Wilmington, 54 in Virginia Beach. But once we get a little bit farther west here, notice that 72 in Memphis, 70 in New Orleans currently as those temperatures begin to move on up. The temperature set up here as we go throughout the rest of the week. We saw the ridge building in today, and that is going to continue in earnest here through the end of this week. And then as we go into next week as well, there's really no end in sight here for some of the warmer temperatures that we're going to be seeing. Those temperatures start to crank here across the Carolinas as we go into the middle and latter part of next week. Futurecast overnight tonight. A little bit of cloud cover. That's about it here across the Carolinas. As we go throughout your Thursday here into the afternoon hours, temperatures in the upper 70s to around the 80-degree mark. Mostly clear skies out there across the region as we keep moving forward here into your Friday morning. A little bit of cloud cover And there's this possible record on the way across those Carolinas as the temperatures start to crank here. Temperatures mid to upper 80s. A little bit of shower activity potentially moving through this is 7 o'clock Friday evening. Some of those showers that we could see here across the Carolinas. We get to 1 o'clock Saturday morning. There's more of those potential showers on the way across the Carolinas. But by the time we get to the mid-morning hours on your Saturday, it's mostly clear. We're in great shape across the region as we keep moving forward here into your Saturday evening. The mostly clear skies. And we cool back down before we get a little bit warmer on your Sunday, but it will be chilly here as we go throughout your Sunday morning. Overnight tonight, it's cool, but it's still warmer, about 10 degrees warmer, in fact, compared to what we got down to this morning. Temperatures getting down to around the 50-degree mark or so in Charlotte, 50 in Wadesboro, 50 in Sharon, mid-40s as we head on up into the mountains. Beautiful day, though, across the Carolinas tomorrow, heading up to around the 80-degree mark. Mostly clear skies here across the Carolinas. Going to be a spectacular Thursday out there. 79 in Charlotte, 80 in Sharon, upper 60s to around the 70-degree mark here as we get on up into the mountains. Mountain forecast, watching a couple of those showers on the way here as we get your Friday as that front moves through. They're still not seeing that much in the way of rainfall. In your pinpoint 7-day forecast, watching maybe a shower late here in Charlotte on your Friday evening. Dry weekend on the way, a little bit cooler as well, but then we start warming right back up as we go into next week.
Sounds good, Andrew. Thank you. And a reunion nearly a decade in the making. The Ohio woman who never gave up hope after her dog ran away. CSL coming up at 11 o'clock tonight. Gabe McDonald here with the preview. What do we got going on?
Yeah, a whole lot of college hoops. The end of an era up in Chapel Hill and the beginning of a new one here in Charlotte for the 49ers. Wes Miller introduced. And we're going to break down the next steps for UNC in the men's basketball program. Plus, the Hornets getting ready to continue their homestand with the Knicks in town tomorrow. And we're getting ready for baseball. We'll check in with the Braves and the Charlotte Knights ahead of opening night coming up this Friday. That and more in about 9 minutes on CSL.
Play ball is here and also coming up at 11 o'clock as well, Gabe. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Charlotte Knights are kicking off the baseball season at the end of this week. They are taking on the Durham Bulls Friday evening at Truist Field in Uptown. Easter is getting closer, and a Wisconsin town has a very unique way to celebrate. It's in the form of a 25-pound handcrafted chocolate bunny. Take a look. Workers at the town's chocolate shop only make 8 of them each year, and are sold exclusively at the store. If you think that's a lot of chocolate, just wait until you hear how much it costs. Any one of the 8 people lucky enough to buy one will spend $260 for the milk chocolate masterpiece.
Well, we have 2 molds, and we weigh the mold, and then we pour chocolate in there, and we make a total amount of 23.5 pounds, and then 1.5 pounds of fudge eggs, colored fudge eggs on them, and then we decorate them.
A bunch of kids are asking their parents for those right now. An Ohio woman's beloved dog is back with her after almost 10 years. Sharon Kelly says she thought it was the moment almost that was impossible. Her Shih Tzu, Celio, ran away from going outside from a bathroom break in 2017. Kelly searched for years and found many lookalikes that gave her hope, but none of them were Celio. And that is until her granddaughter showed her a Facebook post from the local dog warden.
I cried. I was so emotional, you know, inside, but tears, I couldn't hold them back.
Kelly says Celio remembered everything right away, even taking her on their old walking path close to home. What a good reunion. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back with the final check of your pinpoint forecast, followed by Carolina Sports Live. Download the Queen City News Plus app on your smart TV using either a Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire device. Carolina Sports Live coming up next at 11. Got a new episode of Order of the Court with Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes and myself talking about the legalities of street preaching. And meteorologist Brandon Lawson talks with an expert about betting on the weather on Pinpoint Weather University. Watch it all on our new Queen City News Plus app. Andrew.
Brian, one final check-in, your Pinpoint 7-day forecast here. We've got great weather, warm weather here across the region, probably record highs on the way on Friday, the weekend cool, and then we start to warm up as we head into next week. Also, we got a race this weekend, got the Cookout 400, maybe you're heading to Martinsville Speedway Sunday at 3:30. Well, it's going to be sunny and comfortable. Temperatures are going to be in the middle 60s.
Yeah, well, that's looking good, especially for a lot of people to get outside. Watch out for
Yeah.
that pollen, still kind of a problem out there.
Pollinating. It's real. It's happening.
And also dry as well.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Andrew, thank you. And thanks for joining us tonight on Queen City News at 10. Stay right there. We got Gabe and Gia coming up for CSL.